ساتوی پسروینو داد شهیدانو کور داد باتورانو کور داد باتورانو کور داد باتورانو کور داد باتورانو کور ساتوی پسروینو داد شهیدانو کور داتورانو کور داد باتورانو کور.
Good evening and welcome to this hour's news. Today is Wednesday, March 12, 2025. I'm Sulaiman Talash and you're watching RTA News. We begin with Mullah Nurullah Nuri. The Minister of Borders and Tribal Affairs met with a number of Hazara elders of Oruzgan, Ghazni, Daikundi, Maidan Wardak and Bamiyan provinces. In their speeches, the tribal elders emphasized the unity and solidarity of the people and praised the efforts of the Islamic Emirate for good relations with the tribes. The Minister of Borders and Tribal Affairs said that the Islamic Emirate and especially the Ministry of Borders and Tribal Affairs considers it its duty to bring unity among the people. He also assured them that he would resolve their existing problems. The Islamic Emirate has called the statements of several countries, including Pakistan, at the recent UN Security Council meeting on the assessment of the situation in Afghanistan biased. The deputy spokesman for the Islamic Emirate adds that the United Nations should hand over Afghanistan's seat to the Islamic Emirate so that no ground is created for propaganda by the jealous parties. We have more in this report.
The Islamic Emirates' response to the statements of a number of countries representative at Monday's UN Security Council meeting. Hamdullah Fitrat, the deputy spokesperson of Islamic Emirates, says that the meeting on Afghanistan will not yield results without the presence of a representative of Islamic Emirates, adding that several countries are making biased and unrealistic statements regarding the situation in Afghanistan.
The United Nations meetings that take place without our presence were to our detriment. In such gatherings, Afghanistan's affairs are viewed through the lens of others who are far removed from the reality on the ground. Unfortunately, various parties use these platforms to impose their biases against Afghanistan and try to present a distorted image of the country.
Mr. Fitrat adds that Afghanistan is ruled by a single system and no one is allowed to carry out their dirty deeds.
Afghanistan is a peaceful country with a unified government, and the entire geography is under the control of the Islamic Emirate. The United Nations should recognize Afghanistan's rightful seat and give the people of Afghanistan their rights. This would ensure that fair judgment are made in such meetings and would prevent biased functions from spreading propaganda.
Analysts say that Pakistan and several other countries are making such statements to achieve their sinister goals, adding that they are trying to put pressure on Islamic Emirate through these means.
These criticisms are made with the intention of exerting pressure on the current government so that those with allegiance to their groups can be brought into the government. Additionally, they are painting Afghanistan's situation in such a way that complicates the future. Countries, especially Pakistan, point fingers at Afghanistan for their own national security and economic interests. They aim to exert influence over Afghanistan, apply pressure to achieve their political and strategic objectives, and keep the Islamic Emirate isolated. Claims of terrorism are often used as a tool to pressure Afghanistan's government into meeting their demands.
It's worth mentioning that at the UN Security Council meeting, representatives of China and Russia had asked the international community to cooperate with Islamic Emirate and provide the ground for interaction instead of putting pressure.
Maulavi Nur Jalal Jalali, the Minister of Public Health, met with Mufti Muhammad Idris Anwari, the Governor of Parwan Province. The Ministry of Public Health says that the meeting discussed the completion of the remaining works of the 200-bed provincial hospital in Parwan and the 50-bed hospital in Ghurban Siagard area. The Panjshir Department of Mines and Petroleum says that 15,552 carats of emerald extracted from the mines of the province were sold for $328,950. Two Indian investors also participated in this tender and shared their investment plan in the mines of the province with the Governor of the province. In this meeting, the governor welcomed the plane of the Indian investors and assured all kinds of cooperation to domestic and foreign investors. Some residents of Torkham say that a few days ago, during the clashes between Afghan and Pakistan security forces, Pakistan's forces targeted mostly houses, shops, and commercial markets. They said Afghan security forces defended their land and compatriots, and their courage was commendable. More details in this report.
Clashes broke out between Afghan and Pakistani security forces after the Pakistani side blocked the Torkham gate under the pretext of building facilities. Some residents of Torkham say that Pakistani forces targeted mostly houses, mosques, shops, and commercial markets in the clashes.
If we move forward, mosques have also been heavily damaged. Homes have suffered a lot and shops too. There is a significant amount of destruction in Torkham and it has been greatly affected by losses.
Torkham residents add that Afghans want to live in an atmosphere of friendship with their neighbors. But according to them, if someone oppresses them, along with the security forces, local people of the country also have the right to defend their land shoulder to shoulder with the security forces and the Mujahideen.
We tell Pakistan that we should foster good neighborly relations and treat each other with dignity. All Muslims are brothers and should not behave in such a manner. These problems are mostly coming from the other side. When that side escalates, we are naturally compelled to defend ourselves. Blocking the route has not brought good results. Many people have tormented and many have suffered. We saw it firsthand. As we are residents of the area, the fighting has caused immense harm to the people, especially during Ramadan.
Nangarhar Refugee Affairs official says that Pakistani side has targeted public places in the clashes, displacing about 1,500 families from their homes.
In the Ghurki area, 820 families have been displaced from the Torkham market area. 250 families have been displaced, and among the nomads, 60 families have been displaced. Likewise, in the plaza area where Shinwaris live, almost 100 households have been also displaced.
This is while the closure of the Torkham gate has caused huge financial losses to the leaders of the two countries. Afghan and Pakistani businessmen held a meeting yesterday to open the gate, which ended in frustration.
The Ministry of Finance says that the construction of 4 hangars worth 71.8 million Afghanis has begun in Abu Nasser Farahi port in Farah province. According to the Ministry of Finance, the hangars are being built to protect commercial goods and their construction will be completed in the next 10 months. Dr. Abdul Bari Omar, the Chief Executive Officer of the Afghanistan Electricity Company, discussed with representatives of Iran Transfo and German Time companies over the expansion of cooperation and the development and growth of the electricity sector. The Afghan Electricity Company says that during this meeting, these companies have expressed interest in cooperation with Afghanistan in transformers, digitalization, renewable energy, substations, networks development, and other various areas of electricity sector. And the final one is that the Ministry of Mothers and Disabled Affairs, in coordination with charitable organizations, distributed various assistance to 2,919 deserving orphans, widows, disabled people, and needy families in the Kabul, Nangarhar, Laghman, Helmand, Ghazni, and Logar provinces. Similarly, the Laghman Provincial Department of Mothers and Disabled Affairs, in coordination with the HHRD charity organization, distributed solar panels to 150 deserving families to produce solar power to improve the living conditions of the families of mothers and disabled people. That's all for tonight. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a good night.
د شهیدانو کور دا د باتورانو کور دا د باتورانو کور دا د باتورانو کور دا د باتورانو کور ساتوي پسرو وینو دا د شهیدانو کور دا